Hello friends, welcome to Circuit Adda. Today we are going to see how we can interface an DHT11 sensor with an Arduino board. So before going into the video, don't forget to subscribe our channel if you like the content and if you want to learn more about the Arduino and other things. So let us move into the content. So the DHT11 sensor is an humidity and the temperature sensor which is capable of measuring both the humidity and the temperature in that of the atmosphere or the place where you are placing this particular sensor. So coming on to the pin configuration of this sensor. So this particular DHT11 temperature sensor is going to have four different pins. So in these we are going to use only the first, second and the fourth pin, and the third pin is no connection pin. There is no need to use this pin. So if we see the first pin, we can see that this first pin is our VCC pin, to which we are going to give the positive supply, and this is the fourth pin is our ground pin, to which we are going to connect our negative terminal, and the second pin is our data pin, right? So as you know that any of the sensor needs a power supply for operating. So if you are going to, we need to give a power supply, then the positive will be connected to the first pin because our first pin is a VCC, and the negative will be connected to the fourth pin because our fourth pin is our ground pin. And whatever the data, whatever the value that the sensor is measuring, that particular humidity and the temperature value will be transmitted through our second pin. Okay, so before going into the connection of how we are going to connect this DHT11 temperature sensor with an Arduino board, the first thing that you need to know is this particular DHT sensor is an analog sensor. So there are different types of sensors. We can categorize them into analog and digital. So the analog sensors are going to give the data in the form of analog signal. So whatever the data that we are getting here, that will on the second pin of this particular sensor, that particular data will be an analog data. Okay, so remember, we have to remember this because when we are going to connect this, we have to know whether the data pin is analog pin or a digital pin. Okay, so now if you want to know how this DHT11 sensor is operating, how it is measuring the humidity or the temperature values, then you can go through our website, where the link of that particular website is given in our description. So there you can get all the theories related to this particular DHT11 sensor. Okay, so now coming on to the connection. So this is our Arduino board. So as we had discussed, we have to give the power supply. So we are going to connect the VCC, which we had represented as the positive, to our Arduino's 5 volt pin, and the negative to the Arduino's ground. You can use any of the ground here or the here, and then the yellow line, which is our data pin. That particular data pin need to be connected to any one of the analog pins. So here we are having six different analog pins, A0 to A1. So you can use any one of the analog pin for connecting the data pin of our DHT11 sensor here. Okay, so this is our VCC pin, which is connected to the 5 volts of the Arduino. This is our ground pin, which is connected to the ground of the Arduino, and this yellow one is our data pin, which has been connected to any one of the analog pin of our Arduino. Let's move into the coding part of how we are going to write the code in the Arduino for getting the humidity and temperature value from the DHT11 sensor. So the first thing that you need to do here is you have to include the library of the DHT11 sensor, right? So the link for downloading the library will be provided in the description of the video. So once you click on the link, then a zip file consisting of the DHT11 library will get downloaded. Okay, so after downloading the library, you need to go to sketch, and then you need to go to include library, and then you need to go to add.zip library, because we are going to add a zip file. And then in my case, I had kept my downloaded file in on desktop. So when I move into the desktop, here you can see a library with the name of DHT11. This is the zip file which is consisting the DHT11 library. So we will select the DHT11, and then we will click on OK. So after that, if your library get added successfully, so you can see a message here like library added to your libraries. So means that my library has been successfully added to Arduino's library. Okay, and the next thing that we need to do is we have to write the code for this. So I had already written the code here, and I am going to explain you what are the different lines defining in this code. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is, as we had added our DHT11 library to our libraries of Arduino, so you have to define the library name. Okay, you have to include that particular library name in our Arduino code. So for including the library, we are going to use hash include dht.h. So this first line will represent the command for including the library of the DHT level. Okay, and the next thing that we are going to do is, as I have shown you in the circuit diagram, we are going to use the A0 pin of the Arduino as an data pin. The A0 pin of the Arduino is going to collect the data from our DHT11 sensor, right? So here I am giving a name to our A0 pin, and the name is DHT A pin. You can give any name. There is no restriction that you have to use this particular name. You can give any name. So we are giving a name as DHT A pin, and the pin for which I am giving the name is my A0 pin, which is the analog pin of my Arduino. Okay, and then the next important function that you have to define is, you have to define the function which will collect the data from our sensor, right? So this function is already defined, will be in our library. So we have to define this function as dht, and then again dht in the capital. Okay, so this function will call the data, the both the humidity and temperature data from our sensor. Okay, so these are the first things that you have to add. First, you have to add the library of the DHT11. You have to include this, and then you have to define the A0 pin with any name. It's up to you. You can define or not. And then you have to write an command which will call the data from our sensor, that is small DHT and then in capital DHT. Okay, and now moving on to the void setup. So this is whatever code we are going to write in the void setup. As we had discussed in our previous video, this is going to run only once when Arduino gets started. Okay, so the first thing that I am giving here is, I am going to set my baud rate. That means the rate at which the Arduino need to collect data from our sensor. It will define the speed of collecting the data. So I have set my baud rate as 9600, and then I had added a small delay so that the system can easily reboot. And then once my system starts, on my serial monitor, I have to get a command like message like DHT11 and humidity sensor. This will represent me that my device has been started. It is a welcome message, like you can think it as a welcome message. Okay, and then again I'm adding some more delay so that our Arduino board can access the sensor. Okay, so these are the four easy lines. The first line, we have to add a baud rate, and then we have to add a delay so that our system can softly reboot. And then we have to add a print command, serial print. The serial print command will print whatever the message I have written on a serial monitor. So I have written a message that DHT11 and humidity and temperature. So whenever my Arduino gets started, it will show me, it will give a welcome message in the serial monitor like DHT11 humidity and temperature sensor. And then we are again adding some delay to it. Okay, so these are the parts in our void setup. And now coming on to the void loop. So whatever the code that we are going to write in the void loop, this will run continuously till your Arduino board is powered on. So this is going to run continuously, and so whatever the important code, like in our particular objective, the important thing that we have is our Arduino need to collect the data from our sensor, right? So that particular commands which will read the data from the sensor need to be written in the void loop, because Arduino need to collect the data continuously from the sensor. Okay, so the first line here is dht dot read 11, and then this means that this is a command which will define the Arduino that you need to collect the DHT data, and the pin, and in the bracket we have defined a name with DHT A pin. This is the name which we had given to our pin of the Arduino that is connected to the data pin of the DHT11, right? As we had defined here, the A0 pin is going to collect the data from the DHT11 sensor. So here I had represent the name of the pin. That means this particular command will make the Arduino to call the data from our DHT11 sensor by using the A0 pin. Okay, so after collecting the data, what I need to do is first I need to print current humidity. Okay, so first a line will be printed that humidity is equal to, and then I need to print the humidity value that I am getting from our DHT11 sensor. So the humidity value that I am getting from the DHT11 sensor will be in a register that names DHT dot humidity. So I have written this, and then after printing the humidity level that he has got from the sensor, it has to print percentage, because whatever the humidity value that we are getting from the sensor, that particular value will be in percentage. And similarly, first we have to print a line temperature is equal to, and then a command which will consist the temperature value, and then we are going to get a temperature in degree centigrade. So I am written here degree centigrade. Okay, and once one reading has been taken, our Arduino need to wait for 5000 milliseconds. Whatever the timing that we are writing in the delay, that will be in the milliseconds. So 5000 milliseconds means my Arduino will wait for 5 seconds, and again after 5 seconds again fresh data will be taken from my DHT11 sensor. So these are the different commands that we are using. The first command is we are including a library, and then here we are defining a name for our pin that is connected to the data pin of the DHT11, and then we are writing a command which will call the which will have the function to call the data from our DHT11. And then in the void setup we are defining the baud rate by using the serial begin, and then we are adding some delay. And then once my Arduino starts, I need a welcome message, so I had written a serial dot print in, and then the message that I need, you can write any message that you want here. And then again I had added some delay. And coming on to the while loop, I am writing an DHT11 command which will read the data, and then this read the data, and I am in this I am mentioning the name of my pin on which I am getting the data. This is the Arduino pin on which I am getting the data from our DHT11 sensor. And then first I am going to print a line that my current humidity is equal to, and then after is equal to I need my humidity value, so that my humidity value will be in a form of DHT dot humidity. So I am printing DHT dot humidity, and then after getting the value we have to print the percentage. Similarly, we are writing an line of temperature is equal to, and then DHT dot temperature will have the temperature value of getting from the sensor, and then my centigrade. So this is the commands or the programming that we are going to dump in our Arduino board. So now you can see the connection of the Arduino with the DHT11 sensor. So here you can see it. So this is my Arduino board, and you can see this is my DHT11 sensor. Okay, so I had connected my positive pin of the DHT11 sensor to the 5 volts of the Arduino, my negative pin to the ground of the Arduino, and my data pin to A0. Here you can see my A0. Okay, so after connecting that, we are connecting our Arduino to our system or the PC, whatever you are having. Okay, so after doing the connection of the Arduino and the sensor, and then connecting our board with our laptop, what you need to do, whatever the code that you have written in the Arduino IDE, you have to dump this code into your Arduino board. So for that, first you need to check whether you need to go to tools, and then you have to select your board as Arduino Uno, as you can see here, and then my port, you can have to select the port on which the Arduino has been connected. So here you can see my port is COM15, so I am selecting the COM15, and then what you need to do, you have to click here upon the upload button. So when we click on the upload button, first my Arduino will compile my sketch. It will check for any errors in my code, and after compiling it will start uploading. So once if my code get uploaded, you can see here you will get a command message here that done uploading. Okay, so after uploading you can see when now we have to open the serial monitor, and we have to see whether we are getting the humidity and the temperature values from our sensor. So for that, at the top you are having an serial monitor here. So when you click on the serial monitor, and you have to select the baud rate as 9600, because I have set my baud rate as 9600. So now you can see here my it has given the message that DHT11 has been started. That's why it has given a message DHT humidity and temperature sensor, and then it is showing here my current humidity as 88% and my temperature as 32 degrees centigrade. So it is continuously measuring the humidity and the temperature. So you can see here we are continuously getting the humidity and temperature values here, right? So it is very simple here. You have to write the code which I had explained you in a step-by-step manner, and then you have to go to tools. You have to select the port, and the port should be your Arduino, and then you have to click on the upload button. After clicking on the upload button, you have to go to the serial monitor, and when you go to the serial monitor, first the serial monitor will give you the command, the DHT level and humidity sensor, which will represent that your sensor has been switched on, and then it starts showing the humidity and the temperature value. So you can see here I had written that first it had to display current humidity, right? So first it is showing the current humidity, and then this is the message, and then it is showing the humidity value which is 88.00, and then it is printing the percentage, and then again it is writing the temperature is equal to, and then it is printing the temperature value that is getting from the sensor, and then at the side it is printing the C. So this is how you are going to interface an DHT11 sensor with an Arduino board. Thanks for watching the video.